Today's the day. We're gonna paint the Corvette. I did have to do quite a bit more body work off the camera to get it to this point. It still isn't perfect, but it's good enough for what we're getting ready to do. So, everything has been wet sanded to 400 grit. You could go to 600, but it's gonna be just fine at 4. There is obviously quite a bit of spots that are gonna need some base. Hopefully not as much as I would think, but obviously the rear quarter here, the entire rear bumper, which actually came out looking pretty good. That's where most of the extra body work came in. Where it ripped, it looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but where it ripped, it's bulged out a little bit. I've tried using the heat gun to kind of heat it up and push it in, let it reform. At the end of the day, for what I started with and never doing a repair quite like that, I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So then we've got this quarter here, which that looks pretty good. There was some cracking that we had to fix, but that came out looking good. The rest of the quarter is nice. There were some deep scratches I had to sand down, so we're going to spray just a little bit of base here to blend into the door. And then obviously the top of the door, sun had gotten to the clear and it was peeling, so we sanded that down. So we'll do basically back quarter, not anything here, then kind of a little bit of blending at this body line, and then the top of the door. Then we're gonna come back over here. There's nothing that really needs touched around this area, except for a few spots where I went too deep, mainly around the edge of the wheel well, but it came out pretty good. And then obviously the front of the fender, and then the entire front bumper. Then we're gonna come onto the passenger side. This side of the car was in really good condition, but the mirror had some peeling, so we sanded that down, got it all nice and smooth. That's gonna get painted, and then of course the door handle, just like the other side, looked god awful, so that's gonna get a quick respray. But what we're gonna do now is pop this door open, and I've got an inflatable paint booth. I bought this paint booth about, I don't know, a year ago now, maybe longer. I've never even set it up, and I got it out just a little bit ago, make sure I knew how to work it and how it looked and all that good stuff. It's huge. It's honestly too big. I bought the biggest one they had on Amazon. It was like 2,500 bucks. Something like 36 foot long and 14 or 15 foot tall and maybe 20 foot wide. You'll see in a minute. It's big. It's too big, to be honest. It's gonna be nice to have that extra space inside, but I don't need it. And it's kind of a pain to have it set up. So I set it up this morning, and I have there's really no wind, but I guess there's just enough wind that this thing is like a parachute. So after I got it blown up, I was getting everything ready to go, and I'm inside of it, and the back half starts raising up and flying over, and so I jump on the side and I pop open the reliefs in the columns. So there's two large blower motors that pump this thing of air, and then there's a smaller one or medium-sized blower motor that forces air through and out the vents. It's kind of like a cross draft setup, and you'll see in a minute. But so anyway, I let it deflate. So I went in, and it came with some stakes about 12 inches long. They were pretty hefty, and then bags for sand or something heavy. So I went and put the 6 stakes around the outside. This is so large, it actually goes into the road in front of my driveway, which luckily I'm on a dead-end street, so it's not a big deal. But so I put the 6 stakes around the outside, and in the back I've got 3 sandbags I'm going to tie to the D-rings on the top corners to hold it in place. That should keep it sturdy enough for what we're going to do. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to spray this thing in the driveway without a booth. I'm not going to screw with it. But and we're talking about this in here because it's really hot today. It's like 88 degrees. It's probably a little too hot, but this is the only day I've got left to paint for the next few weeks. So we're going to get it done. All right. Real quick before we go outside, I'm going to show you what we're going to be using. Okay. So, all right. So for the base coat, I just went to my local refinish supply store, and I like this Metalux stuff. I've used it on a few projects now, doing bumpers, and I did it on the Mustang in some old videos a couple of years ago. I did some a Harley I did, but this stuff's nice because it's ready to spray right out of the can, and it sprays nice, it lays nice, not bad. It matched well on the Ford that I've done and the Fiat that I've done in Metalux. We'll see how it does with red, the plastic and fiberglass body, but either way, that's our base coat. For clear, we're using some Tamco 4100. Tamco has a pretty loyal following on Facebook, so I picked some up, think I give it a shot, and it's been sitting in my storage room for, I don't know, 6 months or so, so I figured this would be perfect time to see how it does. Luckily, with how hot it is, I did get the slow hardener, which is good because at 80 to 90 degrees, it's going to flash pretty quick, and I am not a pro, so I need all the time I can get. Okay, I've rambled long enough. I'm going to set this camera up on the back of the car, and we're going to blow up this booth. Okay, I hope you can hear me. It's very loud in here. I was low on battery, so I went ahead and backed the car in, and I finished the prep work, got the plastic on it. So yeah, I went ahead and wiped it down one more time with wax and grease. So now I think I'm gonna come in here with a tack cloth. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get the gun ready, and then I'm gonna come in here with a tack cloth, give it one wipe down, and we're gonna spray the base because I'm running out of daylight. It's about 6:30 here. It's getting dark at about 7:30, not 7:30, about 8 o'clock I'd say. It's starting to get a little dim, and I don't have any lights in here, and I have to get this done. So let's get a move on and let's see how it looks. All right, we're about ready here. I hope you can hear me, but I'm using the Eastwood CC 500. Yeah, I've never used this gun before, so I'm curious to see how it does. Now, again, I'm pretty newbie when it comes to body work and paint. I mean, I can get by, but yeah, this is the first time I've went this all out with a booth and everything, so I have high hopes. But all right, let me put this up on a laps and we're gonna get moving. Alright guys, here's the situation. It is the next morning. It got too dark. I lost too much daylight to do clear coat. I did not want to risk it. So let's go in the booth and I'll show you kind of how the base coat laid down. It looks pretty good. I hope that once I get some clear on it, it'll mix pretty well. So yeah, it laid nice and flat. It took about 2 coats to cover, but there were some spots where we had sanded down to the black, you know, substrate. And obviously that took, you know, upwards of 4 and 5 coats. Red, yellow, those kind of colors, they take a little more to cover. Now I think it came out pretty nice. It's all pretty flat. The bumper I'm really happy with. You know, I was expecting to see some lines of where maybe the repairs happened, but overall, man, I don't think I could have asked for a better first go. But yeah, so this is where we're at. We got the base done. We're within, it's only been about 12 hours since I did the last coat of base, so we're still within the time frame to get the clear on without needing to sand and do one more, you know, coat of base coat. So we're good there. I'm gonna go around the car, re-tack it, make sure I get all the plastic where it needs to be, and get this thing shiny. So let's go look at some other stuff real quick. So again, man, this Eastwood CC500 is a pretty nice unit. I've already cleaned it after the base coat, cleaned it really well, because obviously you don't want any of that in your clear. But no, it feels really good. I do still need to kind of play with some of the air settings, some of the fluid settings. I think I was running a little too much air pressure on the base coat, but you know, every gun, every person is different in what they feel they get the best result from. Here's the clear coat we're going to use, and I'm excited to try it out. It has really good reviews, very loyal following, and it's supposed to be pretty easy to spray. So I'm gonna get some things ready to go here, and I'll be back with you when we start the clear. Okay, so clear coat is done, and I've been letting it breathe for about an hour and a half now. Let's go in here and check it out. Whew, it's hot in here. Okay, oh yeah, she's looking pretty glassy. I mean, that right there, I'm not even gonna sand. Oh, there's some trash. So there, when I was doing the last coat, I definitely saw a little bit of bugs. Like, for example, you can see one right there. I don't really know how I could have stopped that, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, she's looking nice. I'm happy with that. Little trash there. Rear bumper looks very solid. Stupid black bug. So here's where I started, and I had a slight issue with some of the gun settings. So the entire car turned out fantastic, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but basically I started out with too much fluid and not enough air pressure, and put it on way too heavy. So we do have a slight wall of clear. It was just too much clear. After letting it set for over 12 hours, what it really needed and what I did is do a very light dusting to kind of give a nice tacky surface. And then I followed up with 2 medium wet coats. I really hope you can hear me because it's very loud in here, but it turned out pretty good. The rest of the car came out very nice. I don't see any issues, don't see any other runs. I'm happy with it. I mean, I hate the little black bugs. There was no bugs in here last night, but it is what it is. Let's check the mirror. Yeah. Test it. All right. Oh yeah, that feels good. Nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna get it unmasked, get it back in the shop, and then we'll let it finish curing up. We'll do a final look under the lights and probably wrap this video up. It's been exciting. I'm very happy to get this thing painted because I mean, this was the last big step. So now that this is done, I can just focus on the little stuff and get it back on the road. All right, let me put you guys up and we'll start taking this plastic off. All right, so I'm tired. It's been a long day and a half, 2 days, whatever. Car's in the garage, fully unmasked, fully untaped. It looks great. I'm really happy with it. Let me flip this around and show you some things. Okay, so actually it came out really nice. I don't believe I'm gonna even have to polish really much of anything front fender and forward. The bumper looks pretty good. The fender looks good. Matches the factory orange peel in the hood. The color, I was concerned about the color. Obviously this car has not been taken care of before I came into ownership. I was worried with it being sitting outside that it wouldn't match, but it matches really well. And I'll show you the only real defect in that. But anyway, so the door looks really good. That's not gonna need any polishing whatsoever. The rear quarter also looks really nice. No polishing is gonna be needed. The bumper will need a little bit of wet sanding and polishing. I think I already mentioned that there is a big run from when I was trying to get the settings right. Ladies and gents, that's why you always use a test panel. I did not have a test panel. I thought, you know what, let's just go to town. And that was my mistake. So luckily I put it on thick enough to where I believe we can get this all wet sanded flat and get it polished out. But it's only there, it's only that side. The rest of the bumper all looks really good. The top will probably need a little bit of polishing from about here over here. Man, it looks like glass. There's not a bit of, I don't think there's even any orange peel in it. I mean, there's really not. But it's still a little soft, right? I mean, it's only been, I think I pulled it in the garage about 2 hours ago, which it set for over an hour and a half before I did that. So, I mean, it's definitely flashed off. It's definitely, you know, you can touch it, but it's still soft, so it would scratch really easily. The front looks pretty good. The bumper, to be honest, if you had the dollars or didn't want to spend the time repairing that rear bumper, this car was in such a way that it would have been better to just replace the front and rear bumper. You also could have just went ahead and repainted the entire thing because I did half the car, but right here is the only spot you can kind of notice a difference. And these rubber bumpers, you know, they never match on new cars or, you know, fixed, but you can clearly see that the bumper is a little darker than the hood. That is the only spot that you can see a difference. You know, even looking over here with the fender to the hood, because I didn't, you know, I stopped my blend about here. You don't notice anything there. It matches nice. The door I didn't paint. I painted the majority of the rear quarter, but it matches where you can see it, because you get this hard break with, you know, a little bit of color between there, but it looks good. You can't really tell a difference there. The same thing over here. For whatever reason, it matches that rear quarter nicely. So you know, the only spot that really didn't match well was the hood, and I guess if I wanted to, I could have done some blending on the front of the hood. It's obviously too late for that. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be a solid driver. So I actually got to go out of town for work for the next week or so, and that'll give this plenty of time to fully harden up and cure, so I can work on that rear bumper. I probably won't do any video on that because it's kind of boring. So the next video you're going to see is wrapping. We are going to wrap this top and this halo bar here gloss black. So originally this was glass, and at some point it's been replaced on eBay, Amazon, all those places. They sell almost like a plastic plexiglass replacement for whatever reason, and this one has clearly been replaced at some point in its life, but again, it's not been taken care of. It's now, you know, sun faded, and you can see the plastic kind of delaminating from the inside. There's discoloration up there. Honestly, it looks like the lens of a headlight that has gone yellow. So that's going to be wrapped gloss black. That'll be the next video. From there, just doing some button-up things. We'll, you know, finish out the rear, put the lights back in it. Got to change the oil, tranny fluid, all that good stuff. I've rambled long enough. This has probably been a fairly long video. I don't even know. For me, it spanned a couple days. I'm very happy with the result. It's nice to get some progress made, and it looks good. It looks really nice. This car, I think, is going to be a solid driver once we're done with it. And it's going to be a fun car to drive. So I think that'll do it. Stay tuned for the next video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Make sure you comment, like the video, all that good stuff. Till next time.